Hi students, welcome back. I am your BVR. Welcome to BVR Sir Classroom. The topic which we are discussing is theories of bonding in metals. Now, in this chapter, already we have seen two parts, videos, part 1 and part 2. In the part 1, we discussed about valence bond theory and free electron theory. And in the part 2, semiconductors, insulators, conductors, etc. we discussed in that part 2. This is the part 3, and in this part 3 we will be focusing our discussion on band theory of metals, which is also called as molecular orbital theory. Okay, basing on this we will try to study the conducting aspects of metals. I am B. Venkatrao from Department of Chemistry, Government College Autonomous, Rajahmundry. Band theory of metals. This is the focus area for this class. Step by step, I will discuss in detail how these bands are formed, how they are responsible for electrical conductivity and other things. Now, we know very well that the band model of metal is based on molecular orbital theory. In the lower classes, you studied molecular orbital theory, according to which when atomic orbitals combine, they result in the formation of molecular orbitals. That is a very familiar concept to you. Now here, when a large number of orbitals overlap in metal, then what happens? It results in a continuous energy level produced by a large number of molecular orbitals, which is called as energy band. Okay, so when one atomic orbital of one atom overlaps with the atomic orbital of the second one, then what happens? Two molecular orbitals are formed. One is called as bonding molecular orbital, the second one is anti-bonding molecular orbitals. But in this case, we are studying about large number of orbitals. So in a metallic sample, you won't contain one atom, two atoms like that. It contains large number of atoms. So when large number of orbitals of those atoms overlap, then what happens? It results in a continuous energy level produced by a large number of molecular orbitals, and that is called as the energy band. It results in the formation of energy band. Now, in this energy band discussion, the lowest unoccupied energy band is known as conduction band. Just you remember that point. I'll explain in detail by showing you diagrams. So what is a conduction band? The lowest unoccupied energy band is known as conduction band. Lowest unoccupied. That means higher energy level. Don't get confused here. Now, what about the valence band? The highest occupied energy band is known as valence band. Okay, that means having lower energy. So between conduction band and valence band, which is having lower energy and which is having higher energy, valence band will have lower energy, whereas conduction band will have higher energy. Now, the energy difference between the top of valence band and the bottom of the conduction band is known as energy gap. Okay, energy gap. What is energy gap? It is the energy difference between the valence band and the conduction band. An important parameter in the band theory is the Fermi level, which is the top of the available electron energy levels at low temperatures or at ordinary temperatures. That means there is one specific energy level which is called as Fermi level. Moreover, the lowest part of the conduction band should be below this Fermi level. Then only there is possibility of conduction, or else it cannot act as a conductor. It will become an insulator. That point is most important. The position of the Fermi level with relation to the conduction band is a crucial factor in determining electrical properties. You observe this one. I was explaining this thing. So this is the conductor, this is semiconductor and insulator. So the lower energy state is called as valence band. How these bands are formed? By the overlap of orbitals of the metal. So valence band. This is the conduction band. Just you observe this one. When a substance becomes conductor means the conduction band has to overlap with the valence band. Observe this one. There is a overlap. Now, when a substance can be called as a semiconductor, when the energy difference between valence band and conduction band is small. Here I am showing that one. 111 to 63 kilojoule per mole. When compared with this value is small. Here there is no difference at all. There is clear cut overlap between the two bands, valence band and conduction band. That's why freely conduction takes place due to migration of electrons. Now you come to this one, insulator. There is a huge difference or gap between the valence band and conduction band. What is that value? About 511 kilojoule per mole. This much of energy difference is there. That is why an electron present in the valence band cannot migrate to conduction band, okay, which is responsible to electrical conductivity. So this is simple explanation. Regarding this part, I told you that orbitals of a metal overlap, resulting in the formation of bands. So this band is due to formation of large number of orbitals of the metal, 1s2 band or 1s band, this one. This is 2s band, this is 2p band. Similarly 3s band, 3p band, like that. Okay, so these are the conductivity levels of different substances. So this is the band theory or the core of band theory. If you understand these bands, then it will be very easy for you to tackle the question. So in metals, the atomic orbitals form molecular orbitals which are so close in energy to each other can form a band, that I already explained. If this band is partially filled or it overlaps with a higher energy unoccupied conduction band, then electrons can flow easily under an electric field, thereby showing electrical conductivity. So electron has to migrate from valence band to conduction band. Okay, please remember that point. Then only conductivity takes place. Now, already discussed about conductors and insulators. So in conductors, there is no gap between valence band and conduction band. Okay, so these two bands have overlapped. Since they have overlapped, electrons can easily pass from valence band to conduction band. So there is no problem at all. As far as insulators are concerned, the energy gap between the valence band and conduction band is very large. Therefore, an electron present in the valence band cannot migrate to higher energy level, that is conduction band. That's why there is no conductivity of electricity, and hence they are called as insulators. In between these two, we know that there is a special class of substances. They are called as semiconductors. In semiconductors, the energy gap between valence band and the conduction band is small, and hence some of the electrons may jump from valence band to conduction band, and the result is some electricity conductivity. Okay, so electrical conductivity of semiconductors increases with rise in temperature. Already we studied these points in part 2 also. So as there is increase in temperature, what happens? There is possibility for more number of electrons to migrate from valence level to the next level, that is conduction level. Okay, so electrical conductivity of semiconductors increases with rise in temperature, since more electrons can jump to the conduction band. So with presence of small percentage of doping material can also increase conductivity. Now this area, that is increase of electrical conductivity of a semiconductor due to rise in temperature, falls under which category of substances? It falls under intrinsic semiconductors. I hope you remember that point. Now with presence of small percentage of doping material means addition of impurities. The impurity may belong to third group means boron, gallium, etc., or a fifth group element like phosphorus, arsenic, etc. Now, then also there is possibility of increase in conductivity. Then that type of conductivity is called as, it is extrinsic semiconductors. Again, extrinsic semiconductors are two types, N-type semiconductors and P-type semiconductors. If you feel any difficulty, you can refer to the second part of my discussion. Substances like silicon and germanium show this type of behavior, that is semiconductors. They act as semiconductors. You know very well that the world is being ruled by these substances, silicon, germanium, etc. Now we are in the computer age. Why so much of development is taking place in this computer related activity means the basic thing is their semiconductor properties, that is the properties of silicon, germanium. So they are playing very important role in electronics industry. Okay. Now you observe these three. For the sake of information, I have given or showing the differentiation. In insulators, the difference of energy between valence band and conduction band is so large that electron transition doesn't take place. Hence, no conductivity is shown. The in-between region is called as forbidden zone, this one. So lower one is, I am discussing about insulator, showing with the cursor insulator. Okay, this is the valence band. The upper band is called as conduction band. When electrical conductivity takes place, an electron present in valence band has to migrate to conduction band. But the energy gap between these two is very, very large. The band gap. This gap is called as forbidden zone. If this gap is more, this electron cannot go to this one. Therefore, there is no electrical conductivity. Hence, it is called as insulator. Okay. Now, observe this one. Semiconductor. The energy gap between valence band and conduction band is small. Okay, therefore, what is possibility? An electron present in this region can migrate to conduction band under suitable appropriate conditions, like increase in temperature or addition of a impurity that is called as doping material. Okay, now what happens? Electron from this area goes to this area, then there is possibility of electrical conductivity. Now this one is regarding conductor itself. There is no such gap which is called as forbidden zone or energy gap. So valence band is overlapping with conduction band. Therefore, an electron present in the valence band can easily migrate to conduction band and again come back to valence band. There is migration of electrons. That is why there is perfect conduction of electricity. And this case is concerned with substances called as metals. So in this way, band theory very satisfactorily explains the electrical properties of metals. That's why this band theory is considered as important as well as very satisfactory. I'll show you with another example, this one, another slide, the same type. You can draw that one or this one. Is it up to you? Both are one and the same. Insulators, band gap is more. Semiconductors, band gap is less. Conductors, there is no band gap. Okay. Now, energy bands for solids. A little bit more detailed explanation. Energy of electrons. This is the increasing order of energy of electrons. Valence band, insulator, conduction band. Large energy gap between valence and conduction bands. Try to write this slide in your notes. In the examination also, if you make use of these type of diagrams, it will not only look attractive, it will fetch you more marks in the examination. Okay, this is the semiconductor. There is a gap, energy gap between valence band and conduction band, but this gap is small. Okay, now conductor, conduction band, valence band. There is overlap between these two bands. This is the Fermi level. Just now I told you that the lower part of the conduction band should always be below the Fermi level. Then only conduction takes place. Okay, so this is a precondition for energy bands of solids. Similarly, observe this one, energy band comments, some of the important comments. Insulator, valence band, Fermi level gap, conduction band, energy of electrons. Electron from this level to has to migrate to this level, but it requires lot of energy and it has to cross this much of energy gap, which is not possible. The large energy gap between the valence and conduction bands in an insulator says that at ordinary temperatures, no electrons can reach the conduction band. It's not possible. This is regarding semiconductor, conduction band, valence band. This is the Fermi level. In semiconductors, the band gap is small enough that thermal energy can bridge the gap for a small fraction of the electrons. In conductors, there is no band gap since the valence band overlaps the conduction band. So this is the detailed explanation regarding band theory of metals. Okay. At the end, I am also showing the important questions which you are supposed to practice. Write notes for these questions basing on this explanation. I hope this explanation is sufficient for your examination. And I also hope that you enjoyed my lecture. So all the best for your preparation. Thank you.